Hey everyone, my name is Melissa Strange and welcome to another episode of For the Love of Drag. Today we're going to be talking about RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 2, episode number 6, also known as Drag Fish Tank. This episode was really good. And it started off with the After Fifi elimination, which also meant the return of Alyssa Edwards and Tatiana. A lot of the queens are speculating what they thought about, you know, Fifi's lipstick message, because she did write that she didn't want to hug anybody because of tears. Tatiana thinks that's a load of bull. Since they've returned, it's now a final 6 again, and if they hadn't done the whole returning thing, technically I think it would have been a final 4 at this point, but with the door leaving early and everything, you knew somebody was gonna come back anyways. It just made sense to bring them both back, and that lip sync last week was really good. So instead of it being a final 4, it's back to a final 6. I'm not gonna complain. It's a new day in the workroom and time for another mini challenge. There's been what? One other one this entire season in week 1, and now there's another one in week 6? Okay. So the queens tee off for a quick game of butt-butt golf where Alaska is deemed the winner. Again. Ru announces that this week's Maxi Challenge is going to involve the queens creating a product and a commercial for a piece of merch that they can sell that is based on their brand and who they are as a drag, and the top 2 queens will actually have their merch produced and sold at the next drag con. That's so cool! So during the walkthrough with Ru, and I'm forgetting his name right now, but it's that dude from that show. But during the walkthrough, they stopped through a few people. I went on Logo and saw the rest of the walkthroughs because I was interested in what everybody thought, but basically what they aired was that the guy told Katya to just scrap her whole idea, and she said, I'm not gonna do that, after they left of course, but she was advised to maybe scrap everything. I felt like Roxy, they kind of didn't like her idea at first, and the dude kind of like spoon-fed her a better idea kind of thing, and so then she's like, oh, I'm gonna go with that, which was instead of just doing it about wig glue, it's a DVD, so she was gonna do a wig glue, and then she's like, oh, and it comes with a DVD, and he's like, no, it's a DVD that comes with wig glue. Sell the DVD, sell your expertise. So then Roxy's kind of got to change her plan a little bit. And that dude really liked the way Tatiana was describing her commercial and actually said it was the best one that he had heard so far. When I went on to Logo to hear the rest of the walkthroughs, they liked Detox's trash can, they thought Alaska's tape was expensive, but they liked the idea of it. They thought Alyssa wasn't go-go enough, you know? So during the filming of their commercials, they are assisted by Michelle Visage and Carson Kressley. I wouldn't call it directed, because I think these queens are like directing themselves, right? They have to do everything. They have to come up with the commercial, say what they want it to look like, and have the entire idea, you know, made. And every queen that they showed like a hiccup and a good part. That's how it felt. So it is literally impossible to guess who might be in the bottom based just off of the beginning part, the whole like when they were filming section of the show. This week's runway is pants on the runway, and I feel like that would be my week because I don't wear anything but pants. And honestly, I loved all of their looks, every single one of them, but Katya's, I like want to own that look. Like I want that look in my wardrobe. I was like, I would wear that if I had somewhere to go that like I had to be dressed up for. That's hilarious, and it's awesome looking. It was just, I really liked Katya's look. So it's time to watch the commercials, and first up is Roxy, and I thought that Roxy's was pretty good, and I mean, it was a little repetitive, totally. It was Roxy. Katya's commercial was hilarious. Of course y'all knew I rewound that damn commercial multiple times to watch it. Oh, it was so good. Alyssa's hilarious, funny, on brand. Alyssa was awesome in this as well. Detox's trash-talking trash can receptacle thing, it was funny, but I couldn't visualize them making that and selling it at DragCon, so I was like, you're not even gonna win. Why wouldn't you pick something that was maybe a little bit more sellable? Like, what were they gonna do? Hand make a bunch of trash cans? Alaska's fashion tape is so Alaska. Even since season 5, and definitely before then, Alaska has always used duct tape as an accessory, so it is already very Alaska, right? It's on brand with her. The commercial reminded me a little bit of her music video for Anus for whatever reason. It was smart, it was funny, it was very on brand for her. And Tatiana's purple collectible tea set, Spilling the Tea with Tati, was very smart. It was Tatiana. I felt like she was trying to sell really bitchy, but was just kind of like not hitting it. She can be bitchy. We've seen her be a little bitchy in this season, but like that was No, she needed to channel her inner, like, Fifi. You know what I'm saying? So Ru announces that Alaska and Katya have won this week's challenge and will lip sync against each other, and Alaska's tape and Katya's crisis control spray will be sold at DragCon 2017. And I'm like trying to figure out how I'm gonna get my butt down to DragCon 2017 at this point, everybody. I really kind of want to go. Alyssa and Detox are safe, putting Roxy and Tatiana in the bottom 2. Deja vu, people. This is the same thing that happened in week 2. And during the deliberations with the queens, you kind of get this sense from Roxy that she understands that it's probably going to be her to go home. She doesn't think that she did the worst. Here's what I was thinking though, based on those commercials. Roxy's went first. If Roxy's went last, I think she would have gotten a harsher critique, because when you put Roxy's up against everybody else's commercial, honestly, I think it wasn't as good as she was given a critique compared to everybody else. After like rewatching it all, I'm like, Roxy's was kind of like, meh. And Tatiana's like, look, I just got back in this competition and I'm not ready to go. Don't send me home again, please. I'm here to fight. I'm here to prove. I might have fallen a little short this week, but I'm here to prove it all. And then everyone's kind of like, well, Roxy's been in the bottom 4 times and Tatiana's now been in the bottom twice, but she was gone for 2 weeks. So technically, if you want to look at it like that, they've kind of been in the bottom the same amount of times, or like kind of been, do you know what I mean? You know, Roxy's gotta go. Roxy's not gonna win at this point. So maybe that's why they're keeping her around. They know if they're in the finals with Roxy, Roxy can't win at this point. That's how I'm looking at it. Even if Roxy turned around the next 2 weeks and killed everybody, I don't think she would win. She would literally has been in the bottom, like, for more than half of this whole show. I think it was in week 1 that, was it Katya called her a filler queen during the libraries open? One of them called her a filler queen, and I'm like, you know what? That was true, because that's exactly how this whole season has felt. So this week, Alaska and Katya lip sync to one of my favorite songs, Cherry Bomb by the Runaways. And I love that song, and seeing that performance of the two of them lip syncing was so good to me. Oh, it was really good. But I felt like we hardly saw any of Katya. I feel like it was forcing us to watch Alaska the entire time. Like Katya, we had the funny part where she used her leg as a guitar. Hilarious, so Katya. But then I felt like the rest was all Alaska. We got like these like 1-second clips of Katya to be like, oh, she's still here, and then go back to Alaska. So you kind of knew from the lip sync alone that Alaska was going to win this one. And she did. Alaska won another $10,000. I think that brings her up to, yeah, it does, $30,000 so far. This is her 3rd lip sync win. How is Alaska not going to win All-Stars 2? Is she going to end up in the bottom next week and they're going to send her home? It doesn't make any sense. How could you send her home but keep Roxy here? Oh, it just, I'm literally convinced Roxy has used some of that wig glue on her lipstick and placed it in the case. That way when they go to pick up her name, it doesn't come out of the case, because literally that lipstick has been in that case every week, pretty much, this entire season. Yet it's never taken out. So Tatiana is eliminated again. And I'm like, why? Roxy should have gone home. I really think Roxy should have gone home, but you know what? Sometimes our favorites make choices that we don't all agree with, and so it happens. She's gone. Alaska already sent her home once. I guess she might as well be the one to send her home again, but now I'm like, is Alaska gonna win again and send Alyssa home again? Is this like a repeat thing? Did we just add 2 more weeks onto the season for that? I don't know. It's kind of interesting when you think about it. Now I'm gonna read a comment from last week's video and discuss with all of you what I thought about this comment and what's going on with last week's episode in correlation with this week's episode and whatnot. So make sure you leave a comment down below about what you thought about this week's episode. That way, maybe you'll be featured in next week's episode when I talk about your comment. And this week's comment comes from Rice You. You're being way too kind. Fifi left in a very asshole way, whether you think there were jump cuts or not. She was dismissive to Alyssa when Alyssa went in for a hug, then Fifi made the crack about selling the parting gift for 10 grand. Clearly not cool. She's a sore loser and winner no matter how the show is edited. And I just want to defend why I was being not super mean to Fifi in last week's episode, because I do agree with majority of people's thoughts that Fifi, it wasn't just the edit, she had to have been being mean the entire time, and she's blaming it on the edit, and you know, the way she left wasn't right, and I truly agree with all of you and all of that stuff. The reason why was because after being on Twitter and seeing how many people were just hating on Fifi and like literally sending her death threats or telling her to, you know, quit being a drag queen, I just really felt bad for her. And you know, she's a human, and I was like, Jeremy doesn't deserve this, Fifi doesn't deserve this. It was like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like making the episode last week about hating on Fifi. But now that a week has passed, I will say that I do think that saying that she didn't want to hug Alyssa because of tears didn't really make sense. She didn't put on the lipstick thing, I didn't want to hug Alyssa because I didn't want to cry. It was, I didn't want to hug because of tears or something. So it's not just saying like she hugged a bunch of people when she was leaving. She just didn't hug Alyssa, and she kind of was very dismissive about it. I don't even think she took the lipstick, right? She like just walked away. So it was kind of like, I don't know, she to me was being a bitch when she was leaving the stage for sure. I'm not gonna personally attack a drag queen on this show for the way that they, you know, acted totally. I'm sure it was a stressful situation. I'm not a huge fan of what happened. I don't think that it makes me a fan of Fifi. I think she was going on this show to hopefully gain more fans. Personally, I'm not gonna run out and buy a ticket to one of her shows if she's in my city, not unless she's performing with a bunch of people that I love. But like, if she maybe had a lot of beef with Alaska, I'd probably be seeing something different. Like if she was like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, cause Alyssa is one of my favorites, but it's just like, I don't know, there was just, I agree that I didn't like her comment on the $10,000 parting gift thing. You know, she's just, from reading that Vulture interview that I told you guys to read, if you like take that story, you take what you watched, and you gotta know that there's another side of the story, right? There's clearly the producer side of the show story, there's what they showed us, the editing story, there's what Fifi's saying, there's then the almighty and powerful truth of everything. It's just way too hard to be like, Fifi did this, it wasn't the show, or it was the show, Fifi did this, or didn't do this. You know what I'm saying? It just, to me, that's why I didn't, you know, attack Fifi. I was just kind of like, you know what? We can see what's going on. I just didn't really feel like being mean about it. It's just not who I am, so I apologize if you're expecting me to like freak out about Fifi's reaction. Thanks again for watching this video, everybody. If you did like it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss next week's episode. And also there's a playlist that you can watch all the previous episodes of For the Love of Drag. I recently posted a video about Hurricane Bianca. You should check that one out. Yeah. Cool, but make sure you leave a comment down below about what you thought about this previous episode. That way I can chat with all y'all about it. And also, I try to wear t-shirts based on like Drag Race and all that. I've been making t-shirts for some of the episodes, which a lot of you like. And this week I decided to wear, which you can't really see, which is why I'm going to show you. I'm wearing a Pulse shirt. All the money from the sales goes towards the victims and their families of the Pulse nightclub shooting. And I'm hoping all of you have done your part to donate what you can towards that tragic hate crime that happened in the States. And yeah, so that's the shirt that I chose to wear for this episode. Thought I'd point that out. Anyways, everyone, my name's Melissa Strange, and until next time, stay strange.